Alright, so we have our cake layers here. I've just put my first cake on the board. This is going to be a 3-layer cake. I always bake an extra one, but that's because that's what the recipe calls for. It yields an extra cake even when you're trying to just do 3 layers. We save that cake in case one breaks or in case we need scraps for any reason. So I put my cake on the cake board that I'm going to use, and we are going to fill the layers with buttercream. So I just take a dollop of buttercream and I go around, just grab some more and keep going. We try not to lift up or pull away from the cake, because if you do, the cake will come with it and it'll start breaking and making a lot of crumbs. However, this is called a crumb coat. Your first coat is a crumb coat. In other words, it seals all the crumbs in. So the second layer will be the final one. So any imperfections are fine right now. Next layer. Do the same process. Putting on the next layer. Go. You can narrate both. Okay, and now for this last layer, it's different because we have to put a little bit of a thicker coat on this, a second coat. This is your crumb coat. This is your first coat. Yeah, but you gotta put... Alright, you narrate then. Sorry for that error. You have to put 2 coats, but this is your first coat, the crumb coat. And we're just going around the cake, trying to cover as much as you can. Also filling in the cracks so that when you cut into your cake, there's no empty blobs and globs. So I'm like pushing the buttercream in between the layers, as you can see, and that's going to seal it up. Buttercream does a couple of things for a cake. Not only does it enhance the texture and flavor with the frosting that pairs wonderfully with the cake, it also seals in the cake. So this cake could be left out for a couple of days. Not that it will be, but I'm sure the day that it's eaten, it'll be left out for the majority of the day. And what the crumb coat does is the buttercream seals in the cake. So oxygen is not penetrating through the buttercream and making your cake stale or old. This seals in the cake, and it does a wonderful job. So as we're doing the crumb coat, I'm going around, not worrying about any imperfections at this point. When it is time to smooth the cake, I'm going to do the in and out freezer method, which I'll explain more as we're doing that. But for now, I'm just sealing the cake. Alright, so part of the process of the crumb coat is kind of removing some of this excess icing and also smoothing what you do have. This offset spatula did a wonderful job of icing the cake, but now I'm going to use a smoother that is going to kind of help me finish. This is a silicone smoother that you can get at your Hobby Lobby.
And what I do is I start, again, this is a crumb coat, so it's not going to be the perfect final layer of the cake. I just go around and you can instantly see, you know, it's smoothing the buttercream. It's also taking off a lot of the excess. And I'm saving the buttercream by just putting it in a bowl. We'll end up using it again. Spinning my turntable. So I'm really not doing much effort. I'm just holding it firmly against the cake and it does the work for you. Since this isn't the final layer, this looks good enough to me, even with some of its imperfections. Getting nice, sharp edges is, at this point, we'll just say tricky. There's a couple of different skills that you can use to get those sharp, crisp edges, and one of them is drawing inwards from the edges into the middle of the cake. It's going to help you start to even this things out and create the sharp edges that you want. A little bit of crumbs while I'm doing this, but that's fine. This is the crumb coat. And I would say that this is all that we needed out of the crumb coat. This is what we wanted. We've got our first layer of icing on the cake. It's looking awesome. Right now I'm going to do the in and out freezer method like I mentioned. So we're going to put it in the freezer for 10 minutes. The buttercream is going to start to stiffen up. And then when we take it out of the freezer, we add some more frosting. And I'll show you how to smooth the cake.
10 minutes later.
So now that our cake has had enough time to chill, our buttercream is a little bit hardened, so I can start the smoothing process. I'm not going to go for a second layer of buttercream right now because the outside of my cake is going to be covered in fondant on the side, and the top is going to be covered in buttercream, grass, and flowers. Just going to smooth it a little bit here. So I'm running the spatula under hot water so that it'll smooth it not only physically by pressing, but also by the warmth. Ooh. I get my spatula nice and hot, wipe it off real quick, and then get to smoothing.
Beautiful. You can get your cake supply at Hobby Lobby or Amazon. I prefer Hobby Lobby because you know the stuff isn't broken and that you'll get it. Hobby Lobby has a lot of utensils and stuff that you use to make cake and stuff. That's why we rather Hobby Lobby or any cake store near you. But the reason why we're riding on Hobby Lobby is it has aisles and aisles of cake stuff. Has many variations of fondant, molds, and stuff like that. And there was not one day where we couldn't find a cake supply there. So yeah.